Hey, yeah, what's up? This is Cyber Martial Occurrence. Rain back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-telepathy all day, anti-America all day, and everybody with them. Yeah, so this video gonna be about, like I already told you, I'm campaigning. 40 states allows adults to have sex with children. That's the end of this country. They tried to witch hunt people. They won't look at themselves though and realize they're dead with that information today. Not when we all come to agree to it. Not when we all come to some conclusion. Today, now, without a conclusion or agreement. Because they've witch hunted people in the opposite direction of their laws. Here is the problem. Besides other countries, let's not look at other countries. Let's look at common sense. Because in this case, what America want to do is jump across the pond and join everybody. What they would say, look, we're not the only ones. No, no, no. I'm not talking about the standards of everybody else. I put it all aside. I put it all aside. I'm talking about the standards of common sense. Adults should not be having sex with children, period. That's number one for common sense. Common sense, don't care. Just like we established, you can't go into a store and buy a beer talking about I'm halfway an adult. You can't go into the store and buy a pack of smokes talking about I'm halfway an adult. But yet with sex, you can say I'm halfway an adult and have sex by law. But you can't do it with a beer. But you can't do it with cigarettes. But you can do it with sex and create babies and get STDs and ruin your future. So we already established that. So common sense tells us adults should not be having sex with children. And you shouldn't open the door, common sense tells us, and then complain about those who go to a couple years under the door that you've opened. You've opened the door to allow children that are people that are children entities that have sex with adult entities. You've allowed that door to open. But then you prosecute people 2 years under that. You prosecute people that are with entities 2 years under the doors that you've opened. Tell me how that makes sense. When you've opened the door for adults to have sex with children, how can you prosecute based on that? You're expecting human beings to regulate when you've opened the door, compromising. So in other words, you expect them to do the right thing when you allow them to have sex with children. You expect them to do the right thing and you've opened the door for them to have sex with children. You expect them to do the right thing. Only a simple person would think like this. Only a simple person. Only a simple person. Because I'm gonna tell you what pedophiles gonna do. They're gonna justify it and say, well, hey, what's the difference between 16 and 14? That's only 24 months. That's only 24 months. So you're living off technicalities, right? We're living off technicalities because if it's only 24, let's just say, okay, the age of consent is 16, right? The age of consent for North Carolina is 16. For some other states too is 16. It's 16 and 17 throughout the whole country. So what's the difference between 12 months? 15. What's the difference? It's the technicality it's the technicality. Okay, so you're holding people to technicalities. Well, how about people like me are holding you to the technicality that they're not adults? What about that? What about that technicality? Because you're using the technicality of a certain age, I'm using the technicality of a certain place in life, in formation, adult and child. See what I'm saying? You're using the technicality, oh, they're 16, 17 by law, that's legal. You're also using the technicality of if they're 14 and 13, technically, that's breaking the law because of the technicality that they're not 16 and 17, right? So if the age of consent is 17, then if they're 16, that's breaking the law because of the technicality that 17 is the age of consent for sex, right? Here in New York. So the law is upheld prosecuting a person that here in New York that would be with a 16-year-old based on the technicality that the age of consent for sex is 17, right? So it's based on the technicality. It's not necessarily based on a formation in age or nothing. It's based on the technicality that they're not 17 here in New York. That being said, the higher standard of technicality is adult and child. And we all agree that adults should not be having sex with children. That's a technicality we all believe, right? Say that again. That's a technicality we all agree on here in America. And common sense. Common sense tells us adults should be having sex with adults. That's common sense. That's a technical common sense perspective based on the technicality that adults should only be having sex only with adults. That's the technicality that we all agree on. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Right or wrong? We all agree adult with adult is the technicality we all agree on. No one sitting around here saying, don't look at age, let's look at the technicality of adult and a child. No one's sitting around saying adults should be having sex with children, right? Technically speaking, there's nobody in America, famous, non-famous, there's no one saying adults should be having sex with children, right? Where nobody agrees with that, right? We all agree on the technicality that adults should be having sex with adults. And that's where we're prosecuting America at. When you would try to prosecute on 16 when the age of consent is 17. That's where you prosecute. That's where you prosecute. Which is, to most people, doesn't really make sense. I prosecute based on common sense of the technicality that adults should be having sex with adults. Period. Nothing else to say. Adults should be having sex with adults. That's the technicality that you're prosecuted on, which is a better technicality of you using 12 months of a technicality to prosecute. Okay, someone was 17, they wasn't 17, they were 16, you prosecute and take them to court, which you shouldn't have let the door be open in the first place. I prosecute based on child with adult, which is a better standard. Your standard is, 12 months. Not even the age. Well, it's age, but the real technicality comes in the months, the literal months, because it ain't a certain age. So you can't say age because it's not a certain one single age. If it's not one single age in a country, like most countries, because other countries have one set age. If it's not one set age, then it's not based on one set age. It's based on months. It's not 16 everywhere. It's not 17 everywhere. So it's not based on a certain age. So we're talking about months here. But the door is open for adults to have sex with children, which is a technicality that should not be broken. That you break in 40 states. In 40 states. That's a 4 and a 0. In case my accent threw you off. Ain't nothing you can say based on that technicality. There's no human being here in America that's going to say wholeheartedly, just ask them that question. Don't talk about no ages. Just ask them the question. Do you agree that do you agree with an adult having sex with a child? Period. Don't know age, yes or no question. Simple question. And I guarantee you it will be in the 200% 300,000% no. While you've been sitting around trying to witch hunt people, you've opened the door for adults to have sex with children. People have a problem with that on technicality. People have a problem with that on technicality. And so for all you little dark patriots that's out there that's trying to preserve America, that's trying to throw the OJ glove in this mix, it ain't gonna work. Everybody know I'm good. Everybody know I'm good in the hood now. But everybody know I'm good. Okay? You have laws that got you messed up. It's no way out. You can ride about, you can do whatever you want to do, but you can't bury these laws in 40 states that allow adults to have sex with children. We're talking about the technicality because the age ain't the same. So we can't talk about age really, because no one in America does agree on age. You got 16 here, 17 there, 8. So we can't talk about age. We can't, because everyone doesn't agree. So I can't say, well, you all agree on this certain age that a child is able to have sex. We can't say that because there's too many different states that are not in agreement. So I can't do that when you all don't agree with the same age. You all don't agree with the same age. So I have to go on the technicality, because you all don't agree. So because of that confusion, the wisest thing to do is to say, you know what? Children shouldn't be having sex by law, period. And in your country, it's not 10 states, it's not 20 states, it's almost all the states by 10 states that don't. 40 states is all. 40 states is all. I don't have to say anything else. On technicality of entity, we can agree children entities should not be having sex with adult entities, period. Everybody agree? All the celebrities, do y'all agree? All the football players, all the basketball players. Yeah, I'm gonna embarrass you, America. All the football players, basketball players, all baseball players. Let me all ask y'all, do y'all agree that adults should not be having sex with children in 40 states? Shouldn't be happening, right? It's happening right here. 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children. Adult penis going in adult and female children in 40 states. Any football players agree with that? Any basketball players, any football players, hockey players, y'all agree with that? All you celebrity singers and rappers, y'all agree with 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children? So you tried to embarrass me and shame me, and now you wind up being embarrassed yourself. That's how it works, man. I'm telling you, karma is real, bruh. So all you people that supported these people that played around with me, now you got to sit here and listen to me tell you 40 states allows adult penis to go in female children's vagina. In 40 states. You got to stand with them. You can't come trying to stand with me now. You got to keep that same energy. Don't come back. Stay over there with them. We're going to take care of you all together. 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children. We taking care of all of y'all with that. And ain't nothing you can say, because technically, culture of America and famous people, even homeless people, agree that adults should not technically be having sex with children at all. At all. So that's the end. This is a system we don't agree with, right? You don't agree with that. Then you don't agree with America. You do not agree with their system. So therefore, you're not really in agreement with this community. Therefore, you're not in agreement with the system. You're not. Okay? Now, for children having sex with children will happen. But far as prosecuting children, I would not do that unless the children unless one child was messing with a child that was in diapers and drinking a bottle. If a child looks at a child that's in diapers and drinking a bottle, then that's weird. But even then, that still is two children. But I would esteem that as a little weird out of child's behavior, because children usually see the way a child think as far as sexually goes, everything but babies. So if a child sees a child in diapers in a bottle, that's considered a baby to a child. So they say, okay, no, that's a child. That's a baby. That's what a child would do. That's where you have a child uses its conscience usually. If they see a child in diapers in a bottle, if the child is talking, if the person grows up and talk about something that happened to them as a child, but that child was not in diapers. This person that claims they were a victim was not drinking a bottle and was not in diapers, then how would a child esteem you as a baby? A child will only esteem you as a baby if you were in diapers and drinking a bottle. Other than that, you're free game to the mind of a child. You're game to a child. So that's where it would get weird if a child chooses a baby with diapers and drinking a bottle as a sexual object. But if you didn't have on diapers, if you wasn't drinking a bottle, when you interacted with the other child that you're talking about that victimized you, then we can't prosecute because that child considered you a child, not a baby. And this is what you're insinuating, that this person is a monster. I was just this age, but you wasn't in diapers though. So the child's mind is thinking you wasn't a baby. You wasn't off limits. That's real. Because a child goes into protective mode for for children that are in diapers and drinking bottles. That's when a child says, oh, that's a baby. Let me help him. They'll even try to feed him the bottle, try to do stuff for him. That's when a child thinks to help or that one is under them. Only when they have the bottle in the diapers. But when the diapers are off and you're not drinking a bottle, you consider one of them. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now, obviously, adults. So this is what I'm showing you. So see. If a child can see that precaution and not mess with another child that's in diapers and drinking a bottle, how do y'all allow adults to not take a precaution of seeing an entity that is not an adult, but they can have sex with them in 40 states? How you allow them to not think, well, gee, this is not. Because we have light bulbs that go off just like the child light bulb. The child says, okay, this is a baby, let me be a caretaker and not do nothing to the child when they're in diapers and drinking bottles. How does a light bulb not go off and say to fully grown people, that's not a child, that's not an adult vagina? But yet in 40 states, they can have sex with adult vaginas, overriding their conscience, the light bulb that goes off that says it is not an adult vagina. So this is where most people will prosecute. Because you should be able to see, okay, this is an adult. This is a child. You're an adult. Okay? How does an adult have the luxuries of being able to have sex with a female child vagina in any form or fashion? Explain that to me. And then you have people out here witch hunting. Then you have the FBI, the police doing what they do. They should look at it and say, we working backwards. How can you work against this? How can this work in your favor when the door is open for adults to have sex with child vagina? How does this work in your favor, police? How? How does it work in your favor? How does it work in your favor? It does not work in your favor. What works in your favor is 18 is the age of consent for sex, so you can prosecute. So you don't have children running around here trying to put their children up for adoption when they have children. That doesn't work in your favor. For you to find children in the garbage can because the age of consent was under the age of 18 and she knew she couldn't keep the baby, and it doesn't work in your favor to have to find and look and find that baby and find the parent. How does that work in your favor? How does the age of consent work in your favor when that's probably a byproduct of what you got to do? How does that work for you? How does that work for you? How does that law work for you, police? How can you even look at anybody crooked sideways when your country allows adults to have sex with child vagina in 40 states? How can you look at anybody sideways, bruh? You can't look at me sideways. I know the laws. I know the laws that we live by here. So just take that pious look off your face. That's all I'm asking. Take that pious, self-righteous aura that you're carrying. When you got 40 states that allows adult penis to go into female child vagina. Please take off the pious, self-righteous aura and energy when you're driving by. Nobody, don't go by unacknowledged, please. When 40 states allows adults to have sex with children, please go by unacknowledged. Because your authority does not matter to me when this is allowed. Until that's fixed, I'm in my own state of anarchy. Basically, I'm in my own state of anarchy until you fix that. Why should I abide by your laws when 40 states allows adults to have sex with children? I'm not saying I'm going to go do something in that category, but the whole law system is where it's falling. Come on, man. It's too much of a contradiction. It's too much of a contradiction. When you witch hunting people, when the FBI is witch hunting these sex predators, but you're fighting against yourself but the laws are fighting against you. 40 states allows adults to have sex with children. Okay? That's fighting against you. That definitely is fighting against you. And ain't nothing you can do, ain't no psychological crap you can do, no psychological karate you can do, no psychological war that you learned in the military. Ain't none of that can work. When 40 states allows adults to have sex with children, you are a defeated foe. Because your American community speaks totally against this. Your American community says, we protect our children. Why don't you go tell these white middle-class soccer moms that 40 states allows adult penis to go into female child vagina? Why don't you tell all these soccer moms, all in Iowa and Nebraska and all these Kansas, all these straight up nice soccer moms? Why don't you go tell them 40 states allows adults to have sex with children and see how they respond to that? They probably shut down soccer for their children and everything. Their children ain't playing no soccer with nothing. Because they got 16-year-old kids. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing with the coach by law? By law. Who knows? She done shut down the whole caravan and everything. She done shut down the whole carpooling and everything. She ain't doing nothing no more. Because she done found out she lives in a whole different reality and country than she thought. She thought the laws protected her children. She thought the laws protected the innocence of her children. She thought, and they don't. How the laws protect the innocence of your children when 40 states allows adults to have sex with children? You want your children, truth be told, to be innocent as long as they possibly can. This is not what American law has done. American law allows them to have sex as soon as they can. As soon as they think they can. That's not protecting the innocence of your children. So you're on your own. Really? By law, you're on your own with protecting the innocence of your children. That's for all the soccer moms. You are on your own. You are on your own, protecting the innocence of your little 16 to 17-year-old children. Mind you, it's not just a sex issue, it's the responsibility of having a child or getting an STD and ruining their life before they're literally even an adult. Having HIV before they're an adult. Having children before they're an adult. Life just throw it away. Now you can't go to college. You got to do what you can to make ends meet for a child that you got coming in this world. And that's how your parents gonna tell you. You lay it down. You're gonna be responsible. And America allows this in 40 states. So whether you think this is convenient information for me, if you think this is information that I'm using to my advantage, let us all agree truth in facts in its entirety is truth in facts in its entirety. This is the entire truth, the full truth. I didn't make this up. Okay? So we have to start over. That's the bottom line. How can you live here? You gotta stop witch hunting, that's for sure. You can't prosecute nobody when you got that going on, buddy. Not as far as sex crimes. It's just too much of a contradiction. I don't see how you could do it in your right conscience. I don't see how you can live under these laws in your right conscience any longer. That's what I'm saying. As fully grown adults, how can you think that it's cool for adults to have sex with children in 40 states?